Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast today is brought to you by our Patreon page. Visit patreon.com/Gear Network. That's Patreon, patreon.com/GERE Network. And look over the memberships to subscribe. For as little as $1 a month, you could receive this podcast and every other podcast from January 1st of 2020 onward, completely commercial-free, as well as advanced releases of every podcast. If you sign up for as little as $3.50 or more, you not only get that tier, but you also get exclusive podcasts, exclusive content, including the brand new GNE podcast, Gear Network exclusive podcast. Again, patreon.com/Gear Network, completely commercial-free and exclusive content. Do it right now for as little as $1 a month.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
Look, you want the truth? Okay, then listen in. My first lick was
This is the Listen In Podcast with your hosts, John Cimino and Brandon Gorell, here on the Gear Radio Network.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Audio, video. We are doing the thing, COVID style, baby. How's it going? Welcome to the Listen In Podcast/Videocast. My name is John Cimino at I am JC Money on Twitter, joined here by my eyesore, the one and only Mr. Brandon Gorell. Brandon, say hello.
Give you the Rob Van Dam.
Do the Rob Van Dam.
Myself, yeah.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
Rob Van Dam, go ahead and RVD it, baby. On this WrestleMania weekend that I'm not watching.
You're not watching? You're not going to use another free trial?
No, they caught on to me. They caught on to me.
My email address,
those assholes. They caught. No, it went by my PayPal because they make you put in credit card or PayPal information just because after the 30 days, they'll bill that or whatever. But I've apparently done that too much. But anyways,
that's too bad.
Anyways, welcome everyone to the Listen In Podcast, Videocast. This is a whole new world. We're in a whole new world right now. Part of the reason why we have not really, gotten together for a podcast or done anything recently because we're just trying to adjust to the new life. So,
yeah,
I've thrown out a couple of single individual podcasts with TJCMS, and Eric and I got in for a half episode with the Brady situation, Tom Brady news a couple of weeks ago. We'll talk about that, but this is life, and this is life as we know it, and we are here the way we can be to try and at least have some fun here. So with that, I will share this awesome screen here because I want to let everybody know, especially you jackwagons here, that this podcast is brought to you by the brand new GearNetwork.com. Look at this beautiful site. Look at this. It's Federal Grant Reserve. It's
that face.
Face made for radio here. Lots of different ways you can support Gear Network. 1-800-Baskets.com, Dollar Shave Club. You can just donate by way of PayPal, which is pretty sweet. Gear Shop, Gear Holiday Shop, Sirius XM. Some of these I don't even remember that I have, but and then also our Patreon page, as you heard earlier on, and as you see right here, ladies and gentlemen, 2 different plans. Basic membership gets you all the podcasts, commercial free. Plus membership gets all that, plus any extra add-ons that we may or may not do. Let's see. Where do I have to stop the share here? There we go. Here we go. All right. So, Brandon, what the hell, man? How the hell are you doing in this brand new world that we live in?
It's a struggle, man. It's a struggle. I'm used to working from home. That's not a big deal. That's what I do on the regular. But typically, you get your break and your distance from your kids when they go to school. It's a little challenging when they're home on break, but you get through it because it's a week and you have, the end of the light at the end of the tunnel. But now, man, it's so hard, to do your job, which my job has not slowed down. We're doing everything like business as usual because we were already like a 75% remote company anyway. So it wasn't a big transition for us, but then I've got to manage the kids, manage the dog, but also play teacher and like, you know, make sure the kids are on task with their schoolwork and they're doing, you know, like a schedule during the day. You know, Grace is usually pretty independent. She gets her stuff done. My son, on the other hand, he struggles a bit to stay on task. You know, he'll set a timer for 30 minutes and then he's like, all right, I need to take a break. And then his break just goes on forever until I check it. And I'm like, dude, you need to go back and do some work. Oh,
that is legitimately Gianna and Emma over here on this side too. It's the same. Like Gianna finished all of her work, her week's work in like half a day, if that. And then Emma, it's like, you know, you really got to push and you really got to reward if you know, she gets that. So yeah, I completely get it. Yeah, this is before we go back to that really quickly. Yeah. On the learning end, on my end here, when I am talking, am I full screen for you? Or are you?
I don't have it set that way. I have it set for the tiles.
Oh, you have it set for the tiles.
There's a setting, so it's like we're side by side.
Yes, I had the gallery view, which the speaker view. Now I have the gallery view. And it's going back and forth there like this. But I didn't know if it, you know, brought me up full screen and then brought you up full screen or whatever.
Yeah, you could do that on speaker view.
Okay.
So whoever's speaking gets the whole floor, and then it switches back.
All right. Well, we'll see that because it didn't change from you to me on the speaker view here for me, but I wonder if it will on the video. Again, folks, learning process for those of you listening or watching. Anyways, go ahead, Brandon. I'm sorry.
But, you know, typically you get your releases. You know, you get like, so I'm a person that likes to go to the gym, and I love going to the gym. It's that hour I get. It's my lunch hour every day. I fly right next door, hit the gym up, and then, you know, come back, finish my afternoon at work and whatever. But now I can't even go there. So, like, I'm legit like stuck in the house all the time, and the kids are stuck in the house all the time, and they're bored out of their minds. But literally like the last, 2.5 weeks this has been about? Almost 3 weeks?
Right, yeah.
It's been about 3 weeks, actually.
For me, it's 3 weeks because as soon as I heard the first outbreak in Greece here, I said to my job, I'm not coming in.
But that was like immediately, like school was canceled like right after that.
Yes.
The Greece one, because the Greece was kind of like, hey, they had somebody at the middle school that was an employee there test positive, and they're like, schools are shut down.
Yep.
So it's been 3 weeks, and you know, like we haven't gone anywhere. The only places I've gone is I went to Home Depot to get flooring to do my home gym down in the basement because I can't go to the gym, and I refuse to be 250 pounds when I get done with this thing.
Yeah. I've been doing planks like a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That's about the best I got.
And then I went to and I go to Wegmans, and that's you know, and I try to limit that too. Like I've been buying 2 weeks of groceries every time, and I just had to go shopping this week to stock up for the next 2 weeks, because each time you go out there, man, it's a risk. I mean, they can put all the safe places and, you know, the safeguards in place, but it just
I've got my gimmick for the next grocery shopping. You ready?
Yeah.
Hey, that's it. We'll rock it. I'm gonna rock this bad boy.
I have
like this. Walk in Wegmans and be like,
yeah, that'd be good.
Still smells like my wrestling. It still smells like my wrestling gear bag.
Ooh, gross.
Ass crack and nutsack, Brandon.
Swamp ass and nut fog. Yeah, I've actually got an N95 mask. I was using it last weekend when I finished my bathroom project. That was another thing. I was like, oh, sweet, I've got free time where I got to stay in the house all weekend. I didn't have the kids for the weekend. So I ended up finishing the patching, the mudding, and the sanding for my ceiling replacement when I had the roof leak. And then I put in a new ventilation fan and painted the whole bathroom ceiling. But I needed the mask for when I was sanding all that mud out, and it was just dust everywhere. And especially when it's in the ceiling, so you're up like this, and it's just falling straight into your face. So I had the glasses and the mask, and I looked like I was a nurse, but I was just a regular dude. So I'm going to have that mask when I have to go out from now on. But it's like I'm trying to stay in, and it's really frustrating to see how stupid the rest of the country is. Like, they all think that they're not New York City, California, or Seattle, so that they're immune to this thing. And it's like, no, it just takes a few people to start it. And then it starts to spread because you people go out in public, you guys get in large groups, You touch surfaces. I mean, I see people now. We've been in this lockdown for 3 weeks now, and it's been about 2.5 weeks. It's been about 2 weeks since they've shut like businesses down, but it's been 3 weeks since the school shut down. And you go into the store and you've got people walking in the store in their fucking hand, like they tell you, use your elbow, use your shoulder, and then they're like, put my hands on the shopping cart, and it's like, you know what, man, I just can't. Like, first of all, if you've got like any symptoms of anything, they tell you stay home, don't go out. But people are just like, do what I want, I'm America. Like, and just watching the southern states like South Carolina and Florida finally smartens up because they're like, holy shit, we've got a lot of cases down here. How'd that happen? Oh, wow. Yeah, and it's
big
because you decided, hey, spring break is on, everyone. Just come on down, get drunk, hang out in large groups. That'll be cool. Just come from all over the country. I mean, it just, nobody thinks, and it's just like, we are prolonging this where other countries have already flattened the curve, like South Korea, Japan, China, Italy's starting to go down and decrease in cases. They like shut everything down. The UK has shut everything down. Why haven't we done that? And that's what it's just maddening to me, because everyone's complaining, oh, this sucks. Well, it's going to suck a lot longer than it had to, but we didn't do shit correctly. Like, it shouldn't have been just, okay, Washington State shut down, and then New York and California followed suit right away, and then nobody else.
Right.
Like,
right.
And then it's like a slow trickle, like, oh, Michigan, we got a shit ton of cases. We need to shut down too. And, oh, Georgia, let's shut down. Oh, and it's like one place here, one place there. Virginia had shut down early too. Like, DC had to shut down. And it's like, okay, if everyone just shuts down for 2 to 3 weeks, we could flatten the fucking curve. Everyone stays in their fucking house. But even in a state like here, New York State, upstate, we seem to be okay with this. We still have 420 cases in Monroe County. That's still a lot. But you look at like New York City, and they've got 90,000 cases.
Right.
Like, the reason is because these fuckers don't listen. They say, don't get into large social gatherings. Stay in your house. And then that freaking Navy ship comes in, and everyone's outside, like, looking through the things, and it's like, why the fuck are you all outside? Don't you have TVs? You can see this shit happen on TV. Everything's on TV. Sit in your fucking house. But they're like, oh, I gotta go check things out. And it's like, it's not going to fucking get any better, because we are fucking dumb in this country. We are
I completely
stupid.
I completely agree with you, and that's been a big source of heartburn for me, especially for the last 3.5 years. But I mean, and again, I'm trying not to bring the
but
politics.
This is not like even a political thing. This is just the average American is a fucking idiot.
It really is. It really is, and it's always been like that. And it's always been like that, and it's been magnified in recent years, especially. And when I say recent years, I will go as far back. I will go as far back. Well, yes, they definitely have a platform now. But I would go back as far as the advent of social media.
That's what I'm saying. It's social media is their platform.
It is their platform. That's how the Breitbart started, and all those bot sites started, and all that shit. And it enables stupid people, makes stupid people feel smart. And when stupid people feel smart, they can't be told anything by anybody, no matter if it's a member of the government, the CDC, the ASPC, KGB, who cares? It doesn't matter who it is. You can't tell that smart American a damn thing, because they know all, and nobody else knows anything. And that's a sad thing. The worst thing, and I don't want to necessarily.
Everybody's an expert.
Everybody's an expert. Everybody knows everything, and nobody knows shit, is what it boils down to. But the positive, at the very least, because I like to try and, believe it or not, good old Uncle Latin over here tries to think of the positive of the situation. And, I'm not normally a work from home employee.
Yeah.
But I enjoy working from home. when I can. I wish I would be a permanent work from home employee under different circumstances, but
yeah, that would be
at the
great.
very least, this time, the perspective that I'm putting it in is the incredible amount of time that I am able to spend with my children.
Yeah.
Outside of the normal, co-parenting lifestyle that you and I both live. But the amount of time, the heavy amount of time I've been able to spend with my children has been amazing. I've been really, getting back into basketball with Gianna. Gianna's been getting into basketball now, and that, of course, has led me to go out there and shoot around with her. And, you play long enough, you start to remember some of the old moves that you had when you were younger. You didn't forget how to dribble this way. You didn't forget how to do the crossover. You didn't forget your shot from here or whatever. And as you start to warm up and you're starting to play more and more and more and more. And now your older daughter's like, oh my God, Dad, you weren't lying. You were pretty good. And I'm like, damn right I was.
Hopping the J, man.
But just even doing that, and now we've made a thing where we walk around the block with the dog, and all of us are together doing that. We've watched a lot more movies. I've been very hands-on with their learning experience, with school and things like that. So from that perspective, it's cool because I don't have to deal with the break of, I kind of wish they would still go to school, but I don't have to deal with the babysitting and traffic to get to point A to point B and this and that and all that. I don't have to deal with any of that. So that's a positive for me.
Yeah.
My house has never been cleaner. My dog is spent, aside from the fact that I, when I go to sleep, that's when she's in her crate. She's out of her crate now from sunrise to sunset. She gets so bored out of the crate, she'll just go lay in the crate with the door open like, all right, I think I'm supposed to be here. I don't know what's going on. So there are some positives with this. However, the stupidity of everybody else, eventually
it's painful.
People are going to want to get out. And the more that the good people who listen to the CDC and listen to the direction, now the battery's low on my earphones here, but whatever. The good people that they actually listen to it now, at what point will the all the stupidity, and if we're not locked down or anything like that, like will they start to rebel and just be like, well, fuck it, and again, to your earlier point, that would extend it, and it just we wouldn't be able to have live sports again to talk about what the podcast here originally is supposed to talk about, is two jackwagons like you and I, and our takes on sports and things like that. So I don't know, man. I hope everybody that's listening to this is doing the smart thing, being safe, and not being negligent, and looking out for others.
Yeah, it would be nice, but honestly, I think we're so fucking stupid.
Yeah, we are.
We're not very bright.
No, we're not. And this, more or less, this podcast, there are some sports things we'll talk about here, but I wanted to get, just us out there and just get content out there, I guess, more or less. So if this is more of a life cast, whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't care. So let's talk about Brandon. Let's talk about some sports. And speaking of sports, TB12, Brandon.
Yeah.
Now Eric and I got on the podcast feed a week or so ago when it was announced that he was not going to be coming back to the New England Patriots. And Eric was is a Patriots fan. So I wanted his immediate hot take on that, and he thought Brady was as good as gone to the Chargers, and then the next day
that was a good fit,
and then the next day it was reported he was going to Tampa Bay, and then 3 days later he signed with Tampa Bay. So, Brandon, what's your thought about the greatest of all time trading in the the colors of the Patriots, the New England Patriots, to Don number 12? He did get that.
He did.
Don number 12, yep.
who's going to tell him no?
Yeah, well,
I don't care who you are. Like you know what? If you were to put up a fight and say, "Hey, greatest of all time, you can't have this number," someone would be like, "Well, guess what? You just got cut."
Exactly.
You're not staying.
I think it was Chris Godwin.
It was Chris Godwin.
It had the number.
He gave it up pretty easily.
Yeah, he's not because probably for that because he knows he could have been replaced by Brady's buddy Antonio Brown.
Yeah,
if
he may still end up there.
I don't know. Bruce Arians and the GM were both kind of like, but either way, Brandon,
Brady tugs hard enough, he'll get his way.
Brady goes to Tampa.
Yep.
With I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. 74,571 passing yards, 541 touchdowns to 179 interceptions. He's on a 2-year deal worth, I believe it was $50 million.
Yeah.
All of it guaranteed.
Yeah.
Which good for him because he's always been, good
team
with,
guy.
The team guy.
He did the Jordan thing. Jordan always took less money in his contract so that he could have a better talent and team and win. And not a lot of guys do that anymore. Brady's definitely one of those guys that have done it. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good fit. Tampa is 7-9 this year, and they lost, I think it was 7 games by single digits.
Yep.
Like,
I mean,
the amount of interceptions that Jameis threw, like, even if you cut, like, if you say, okay, well, Brady is good for a 4-3 in those 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're looking at an 11-5 team.
Right.
And that team's going to make the playoffs. Like,
right.
So, they're going to get better all around. And the defense was not bad. Like, their defensive rankings were good. Their scoring defense was not good. But that also comes in effect with having to make up for 30 turnovers.
Right.
Your quarterback.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
And I heard so many points about this. And I don't want to completely discredit Jameis Winston and say that he sucks.
No.
Because the man still, despite the 30 interceptions,
he still played well.
For 5,000 yards.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, if he got his, he had the LASIK surgery to get his vision corrected.
I don't know if it's vision, man. Like, I think he has problems reading defenses, to be honest.
It could very well be. I will tell you, I think I would be okay.
Those weren't gunslinger type interceptions. Those were like threw right to the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of those interceptions were just, hey, here it is.
You take Tom Brady last year, and mind you, this is with a New England team that literally had just him on that team. You know what I mean?
Edelman was not himself. He was hurt all year.
He was not himself.
There was no Gronkowski. Antonio Brown for a game.
Well, I think Edelman became Edelman because the Gronk factor was there. You know what I mean?
I don't agree with that.
Gronk drew a decent number of people on often the same side that Edelman would line up in to kind of go on the slot.
Yeah, but I don't really agree with that because typically you would have the safety and a linebacker covering Gronkowski. That would be a double there. And it still leaves a corner covering Edelman on the outside. It's the route running. Edelman runs really solid short routes, and it allows him to his yards after catch may have been affected by Gronkowski with a little more open space in the field. But as far as getting open, I think he had a lot to do with it, but he was hurt most of the year. Yeah, knee and shoulder problems all year. There really was no other option. They had Gordon for a little bit. He got hurt, and then he got suspended again and then cut. Mm-hmm. And then, you had Antonio Brown for like a game. And then it was just a bunch of nobody.
It was nobody. But despite that.
And the line was awful.
Despite that, New England still put up a 12-4 record. Mm-hmm. Brady still threw for 4,057 yards, 24 touchdowns to 8 interceptions.
Yeah, whole notion.
And that's with nobody. Now he goes to Tampa. He has Godwin. But he also has
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans, who's 6'5".
And Cameron Brate.
But the 6'5" thing, Brady has never had a receiver that tall. A wide receiver that tall. The closest was Randy Moss, who was 6'2". But He's never had anybody that's been that tall.
Get into their end zone, man. It's going to be a wrap. He's
So
just going to throw that ball right to where he needs to, and he's going to go up and get it. I mean, it could be really nasty.
But then we talk, and I know you're a fan of the NFC North. So this will impact you playoff time than it would me. I can actually root for Tom Brady now. But the NFC South made quite a bit of moves. Todd Gurley is with Atlanta now.
Yep.
Cam Newton's gone from Carolina. Teddy Bridgewater's in.
Yep.
Brady to Tampa. I mean, the NFC South, Brandon, arguably that is the division to watch this year.
Yeah,
that
it's a
division
juggernaut.
every year seems to produce different winners.
It's got 3 great quarterbacks and Teddy Bridgewater. I'm not down in Teddy Bridgewater. He hasn't have
no,
enough
you're
of
right.
a career
You're
to
absolutely
say,
right.
hey, I'm in the same conversation as Matt Ryan, Drew Brees, and Tom Brady.
Right.
Like, you got 2 of the 3 GOATs right now in the NFL.
In the same division, playing
same
each other
division.
twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that would be more crazy is if Green Bay traded for Teddy Bridgewater and sent Aaron Rodgers.
To
and you have the
Carolina.
3 GOATs of the league, just in the same division. That would be insanity.
Yeah, but it almost reminds me of the the whole Eastern Conference, Western Conference thing with the NBA, when a lot of the stars started going to the Western Conference, and people were like, well, the Western Conference, this is going to be the conference to watch. I would argue that the NFC South is going to be the appointment television for the NFL season, assuming we have one this year.
We'll have one. I mean, football doesn't start till September.
That's true.
This thing won't survive the summer. The heat alone is going to, help exacerbate, the length of time that it's, stays on surfaces and things like that. But I honestly, I think that we're probably, as a nation, will probably not get moving until mid-May, end of May. And I think it's going to be slow reintroduction to everything.
Yeah. I would absolutely.
I mean, that really doesn't cut in anything. I mean, training camp's not till July? And then they have preseason in August.
June, I think.
Is it at the end of June?
I think it's June into July. I could be wrong.
Yeah, because I know they have it in July, and then they start preseason in August. And there's 4 preseason games in the month.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking of OTAs. So
OTAs are in June. Training camps in July.
Yeah.
And then you got your preseason in August, and then you've got your regular season starts in September. Because they play the 4. Well, now it's going to be. Well, is it this year? Is it going to be 3, or this is the last year of 16 game schedule?
16 game season, but the extra playoff team has been added for this season. So
lame.
There's only going to be this year. There's only going to be 1 team per conference.
Yeah, one team per conference gets a bye, and then another C student gets into the dance.
Yep.
I don't like that. I don't like the added playoff team.
Well, it's all about the new CBA and the TV deals. ESPN wants to move Monday Night Football back to ABC so that way they could get into the Super Bowl rotation again. Mm-hmm. And that the mothership is going to be is going to outbid everybody in order to ensure that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're paying $80 million a year or $80 million in a 3-year, 4-year contract for Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
They're going to freaking pay whatever they're going to pay. I'm just
annoyed because if you would have went based on last year, you would have gotten the Cowboys would have probably gotten in. And
Cowboys and the Steelers.
Cowboys and the Steelers would have been the last teams in, and they were both terrible.
Yep.
And they had no business being a playoff team, and yet somehow they got to be playoff teams. And I really think it's a real horrible idea. I mean, no one from the NFC East should have gone last year. And yet we almost had 2 teams. In the new scenario, we would have had the 9-7 Philadelphia Eagles, who had to go 4 in a row to get to that 9-7. They were 5-7 at one point, And you got Dallas got 8-8 because they won their last game of the season, which was meaningless. So, I mean, honestly, like that team would have made the playoffs. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were like toiling between a third and fourth string quarterback, you know, and who was going to be the quarterback, that would have been the other team that got in.
No, has it been there? By the time the season ended, they were down to their, I think, second or third running back too.
Yeah, Connor was hurt too. So, I mean, it really waters down the playoffs. Like,
yeah.
It's so, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like Tim Tebow winning a playoff game. Like he was not good, and he just happened to like catch a guy on a streak who was wide open, and he just ran all the way for a touchdown to beat the Steelers. Like, and he ended up getting it to that guy that was supposed to be covered by Gay, but Gay couldn't play the game because he had asthma. And the elevation was just like too much for his asthma, so he had to sit out. And that was the guy that was supposed to be covering in that slot, and that wouldn't have never happened. But I mean, we would have had the duck calling guy, and then Dak Prescott like added to the playoff rotation, and Green Bay wouldn't have had a first round bye this year, and neither would have New England. Right, it would have been right into the playoffs for these guys, and you get no reward for being like. I mean, Green Bay was 13-3.
Well, New England didn't have the first round bye this year.
They didn't?
Baltimore did.
Well, yeah, Baltimore did, but didn't New England get the other first round bye?
No, New England lost in the wild card to the Titans.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Kansas City got the other round.
Kansas City. It was Kansas City and Baltimore got the
KC got
the spot.
Yeah, but then KC, the Super Bowl champion, would not have gotten a bye this year.
Very true. Very true.
Not have gotten a bye.
Nope.
The 49ers ended up winning the number 1 seed. Green Bay and New Orleans, 2 13-3 teams, would have had to play that first weekend against Dallas and Philadelphia. Like, and Minnesota is in the mix too. And Seattle. Like, all those teams would have been in the mix. And you have 2 13-3 teams that like had the same record as the 49ers. And you're like, you got to play in the first round, and you got to play against trash. Like, it was. I just don't. I don't know. I don't like the added team, and I'm definitely not going to like the added game for the season.
Right.
Teams are running in by fumes by the end of the season as it is.
Right.
And the teams that typically do well in the playoffs are those 2 teams that were able to get that extra week of rest.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's going to be 1 team, and that's a real big advantage.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that it ended up like the only way I could imagine, and I didn't read the specifics of the deal or anything, but the only thing that I could imagine is that the players
they want the extra game
must be getting a nice chunk of change in this deal in order to agree to doing this, because I can't understand why.
Playoff bonuses, extra game check, 1 less preseason game.
But one more regular season game. I suppose you could treat one of the earlier games as an extended preseason game if you wish, if you're running away with it. But
that also could lead to you not making the playoffs, or you lose the first round bye because you didn't take that first week seriously. So it's.
I guess it brings a different dynamic to it.
I don't know. I just think the game is too violent and too fast, and the players are too strong to be able to withstand that extra game. And your playoff teams, like, everyone's got to play an extra game now. With 7 teams, what is it? 7 teams from each. You get
in the playoffs.
Yeah, you get 1 bye.
It would be 7. It would 1 bye would be 7 teams. Yes.
Yeah. So the other 6. So you have 3 games on Wild Card Weekend.
Per conference.
And then you've got another round where it's the 2-on-2, and then it's the 1-on-1, and then you got the Super Bowl. And like, if you're 13-3 Green Bay, you had to play that extra game, and you shouldn't have had to. And I don't know, man. I liked the wild card weekend. 6 games in a weekend is just too much.
Well, I will say that.
Playoffs.
I will say this. I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic, perhaps even indifferent on this because, damn it, Brandon, if the Jets manage to go 10-6 one more time and miss the play, they won't miss the playoffs this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
the Bills have already penciled themselves in.
We're now the second or third longest drought.
The Bills have already penciled themselves in for the division, so.
Well, I mean, yeah, but that's the Bills. That's what Bills fans do. They pencil themselves in for the Super Bowl every year.
Their GM was like, yeah, if you think that we're going to dismiss New England, you're kind of out of your mind. You think those guys are just going to fall right off the face of the earth. You're nuts.
No.
They're not.
No, they're not. They're definitely – I will say the AFC East, New York Jets aside, is as wide open as it ever has been in the past 20 years. But to completely dismiss New England
they're making them out to be like the Dolphins now. Like, they're not going to be the Dolphins. They had one of the best defenses in the league last year, and those guys are coming back. Like, they're going to rebuild their line.
That? Can you hear? My dog is snoring like a fucking idiot.
No, I can't.
I don't know if it's picking up on the mic or whatever.
No.
All right, go on.
I thought the adult alarm was going off.
No Jim Rome reference for you out there.
I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan of the changes. I think it waters down the product, and I think that this is, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like the NFL is heading towards that watered down. Like, I almost feel like it's going to be the NBA of like the 70s. Like the 70s, it kind of watered down. It got kind of shitty towards the early 80s. It became like a drug league where it was like a lot of drug addicts.
It was shown late at night.
Midnight games
and
shit like that. And then Magic and Larry kind of came in and saved the league. And then the league got kind of revitalized, and they've gone smart. And, they are doing things to grow their game. The NFL is they're so saturated right now that they're trying to grow the game by growing revenue by adding games,
right?
Adding playoff teams. Whereas, they're trying to market in London, England, who doesn't give a fuck about football.
Right. Yeah.
They show up.
I never got that. I never got it. I never cared about those games.
They care about football. Like, it's their football.
Yeah.
They care about soccer. They have like 30 million soccer leagues in that fucking country.
Right.
They don't care about the NFL. The NFL needs to market their game in Mexico, South America, Canada. They got to do a better job with Canada. Go after that market, because those markets you can get something. But they don't. They aren't growing their game. But if you look at the NBA grows their game in China, like the big thing in China. They grow it in, Australia. They grow all around the market. They try to they've got teams in Canada. They play games in Mexico. Like, the NBA is a international sport. Like, it's very popular all around the world, whereas the NFL is very popular here.
Right.
They're here. They're popular. After that, it just drops the fuck
off. What? It's right. And to your point, for those football historians that may or may not remember, NFL Europe, formerly the World Football League.
Yeah.
The NFL took over, and they used the NFL Europe to be some kind of a developmental sort of league, and then that fizzled out. And I think football as a whole. I think football as a whole is oversaturated in general. There's just quite simply, I never bought the whole, let's just take the XFL, for example, when they came back, and one of their main things was, for the love of football.
Yeah.
And Americans love their football, and, got to have that football fix or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're really a football fan, there's football to be found wherever. Maybe not now with the Arena Football League, but that existed. And in May, I mean, between the Super Bowl and the draft, there's nonstop coverage of the NFL anyways.
Free agency period.
But then, you got the free agency period. You got the draft. You've got the OTAs. You got that. And then if you really want in-game action, starting in May, the CFL preseason is shown, and ESPN shows that too. So if you really want to get some kind of football fix, then in June you got the freaking what is it, the spring game or the summer game or whatever that the college teams will do, color versus white shirt versus this or whatever. I mean, football's there.
Yeah.
So I think it's just it is very much an oversaturation. But if you're talking about wanting to grow something that's already super big as is, don't change it from in my opinion only, don't change it from the aspect of adding more games and adding more revenue and in that respect, grow it differently. Take some of the rules that, quite frankly, the AAF or the XFL had, the good ones. Like the XFL this time around. I loved their kickoff situation.
Yeah.
I loved the way that they handled touchdown.
Replay.
The 1, 2, or 3.
The extra point. There was no kicking of a point. You had
there was none of that.
We
never got an overtime game this year.
3 or the 5.
Their overtime rules were very intriguing. Take some of those steps and change some of those rules, and then maybe you'll be able to grow it that way, gain more of an interest that way, because yes, it's player safety, but I mean, that's part of what was the charm of this of the XFL this round, was the new rules were so different that it made it intriguing, and it made the games really fun to watch, unless you were a Tampa Bay Vipers fan. But do that. I think. I don't know. I love
the replay system too. You got the guy up there with the Xbox controller.
That was pretty cool.
In the booth.
I gotta say, I can't lie to you, Brandon. I know I was getting on you in the weeks leading up to the XFL. Like, you're excited. I know I'm excited.
I wasn't excited. I was intrigued to see what they were doing. But
that was kind of a work. That was just kind of whatever, fun, whatever. But when I started watching the games, I was like, it's not terrible. It certainly wasn't the AAF.
It
was better than the AAF.
It wasn't the AAF. The AAF just tried to be the NFL.
Right. That's exactly what they tried.
NFL Junior.
But you know what? We will.
I see your Fleet hat back there.
Never forget the Fleet, baby. Yeet Fleet. All right. Real quick, one thing to note, because we've been rambling for a while now. DeAndre Hopkins traded to the Arizona Cardinals for literally a bag of Cracker Jacks.
I don't know how that fucking Bill O'Brien has a job still.
He's not only the coach, Brandon. He's the GM of the team.
I know.
He finessed his way to being both the coach and the GM of this team.
DeAndre Hopkins was a big reason that they actually even came back in that game against the Bills. Otherwise, they would have been on another first-round exit with that.
Exactly.
And yet he gets and then they blew a gigantic lead against the Chiefs and lose. And what does he do to say, well, I'm just going to get rid of the number one receiver on our team and probably the number one receiver in the AFC. Probably,
and he's only pissing off his number one quarterback, who I'm sure will not be afraid to bolt. And if he were to bolt when his contract is over, there will be plenty of suitors.
He'll go to New England. New England will use whatever they have right now to maybe get in as that seventh team this year.
Jared Stidham or Brian Hoyer. Brandon, who's your New England Patriots starter?
I don't even know if it's going to be either one of those guys. I think they might draft somebody.
I'm calling my shot, and I've said this. I don't know why I've had this strong feeling about it. Cam Newton.
I don't know if Cam Newton's going to go over there. I would love for him to. I think he would be a great fit there.
He's either going there or he's going to the
Daniels could do a lot with him.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know if that's a Belichick type player. I just don't know.
But he could be a Josh McDaniels type player.
But Josh McDaniels doesn't have overruling power with Bill Belichick.
I guess you're right.
I mean, Tom Brady didn't even have overruling power with Bill Belichick. That's why Tom Brady is a Buck.
That's why he's a Buck now, and that's why Robert Kraft.
They have a mutual respect, him and Belichick, but they did not get along.
Robert Kraft was very salty in his replies.
Yeah, he was not happy. He knew
it was definitely not happy at all.
He knows why Brady's gone.
In the same, I could understand the business aspect of it, or whatever. I don't know. It's weird. It's going to be very weird seeing Tom Brady in a uniform.
Well, I mean, it was weird seeing Peyton Manning in a Broncos uniform. Like, but, it's weird. It was weird seeing Brett Favre in a Jets and Vikings uniform. Like, that should have
Hakeem
never
Olajuwon
happened.
in a Raptors uniform.
Yeah, I mean, NBA, it's a little different, I think.
Yeah.
Because especially now's NBA where people just change. I mean,
Yeah.
the best player in the league is changed teams 3 times. And, and you can say that best player in the league changed teams 3 times, and you can mean one of 2 players. It could be either Durant or you could mean LeBron James.
Right.
Like, whoever your preferred best player in the league is, they've both on their 3rd teams. Like,
Well, I mean, even if you're a Harden or a Russell Westbrook person, they've gone to multiple
Westbrook.
teams.
yeah, I mean, they're on their 2nd team.
If you're one of the
left the
few
same
people that
team.
think Chris Paul is still one the
he's not,
best,
but
he's been on like 9.
he's good.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
9 teams, but no, I get what you're
Kobe
saying.
was like the last, like, franchise guy that stays in a franchise.
Yep. Although that almost didn't happen.
Right.
He was looking to get out at one point and possibly going to the Clippers. So he would have stayed in the same city, just
Yeah, but still a different team.
I guess for
Kawhi Leonard's
historical
on his
purposes.
3rd team.
For historical purposes. By the way, Kobe, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, I don't remember who else, but Hall of Fame, Hall named officially today.
KG.
As of today, the 3rd, although this will go up on the 4th. They've all been named to the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame, Basketball Hall of Fame. Kobe, of course, as we had mentioned a few podcasts ago, not too long after his death, they overruled. He would have had he been alive, 1 more year before he would have been next year. But because of what happened, they all voted. The Hall of Fame committee voted.
It's just so
overruled 5
stupid
years.
to have like these, you've got to wait a certain amount of time. If you're a fucking first ballot Hall of Famer like Kobe Bryant he should just step into the Hall as soon as he retires. Like,
Right. They should do it. Yeah.
this whole Hall of Fame waiting period, like Brett Favre had to wait a certain amount of years before he was able to go into the Hall. I'm like, give me a fucking break. It's Brett fucking Favre.
Yeah.
Like,
Peyton Manning, same
welcome
thing.
in. Peyton Manning, same deal. You gotta wait.
I know.
Gotta wait. Why? What's the point?
Money.
Wait on the guys that
Money.
Don't.
That's all it is. It's about money. They're
Nobody
able to
cares.
sell tickets 5 years.
Nobody cares about the NBA Hall of Fame. And then the NBA Hall of Fame.
It's not even the NBA Hall of Fame.
No.
It's the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame.
And on top of that, they don't have fans there. It's the media there. They get up there, they talk in front of the media, and then they look at their busts, and they're like, cool, see you later.
Indeed.
Yeah, Rudy
All right.
T and Tim Duncan.
Yep.
The big fundamental.
The big fundamental. And with
Who
the
still has the
single
best
greatest MVP picture known to man with his jorts. I think he
Jean
was wearing
shorts. He was wearing jean shorts, like a floppy red shirt, and sandals. It was pretty amazing.
It was very Tim Duncan.
And now you see him; he's got dreads. Like,
Yeah, I know
where'd
that. That shit threw me off when I saw that. I was like, "Whoa! When did
sideline with
when did
Popovich,
Tim
I'm like-
Duncan become Tim?"
yeah,
Shit.
Jesus.
All right, Brandon. You got anything else for the crowd here? For the listening audience or the viewing audience?
Just stay fucking home, people. Just stay home. Don't be dumb.
I concur with that. Stay home. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and cue the music. And there it is. You can't hear it, Brandon, but you will. Anyways, that is the Listen In podcast, videocast, simulcast, cast, whatever. Happy to have finally gotten together with you, Brandon, and put something out here and to get the feeds updated and just to fucking talk and goddamn it, see your face whether or not it was in person. Happy to do that. Happy that you all have taken the time to listen. And again, just like Brandon said, please be smart. Don't be stupid. Stay home. Stay away from people right now, so that way we can annoy the shit out of one another and go back to wishing that we could stay away from everybody soon. I mean, it goes without saying.
Just, we want to go back to being able to shoot dirty looks at each other in public. And,
right. Play the fart game.
Yeah.
But
Just be nice.
We will do this again sometime very, very soon. If not next week, definitely very soon with that. But Brandon, good day to you, sir.
Good day to you as well.
So long, everybody. Good night now. Flavor Flav for the video and the podcast, please.
Yeah, boy!
Hang on, one more thing before you go. Remember, listen to our sponsors following this podcast, as that does help this podcast and this network out in a way that we appreciate very, very much. So if you could just ride it out 30 to 60 more seconds after this podcast is over, listen to those commercials, it would be doing us a very, very big solid. And again, we thank you.
This has been a presentation of the Gear Radio Network. For more, log on to gearnetwork.com.